Welcome to our channel, $1 Million Made Easy. This is a channel where we help you know your numbers. I've got an interesting run here I want to do. Let's say, for example, somebody's 25 years old. How much would they need to save to reach $1 million by age 65? And what we're going to do is show you the worst 40-year return over the last 100 years. And what we do in this channel is use the actual returns for the S&P 500. We project ahead what similar returns might do for you in the future. And if you pick the worst 40-year run that you could possibly pick out of this 100 of years, how much would you need to save a month to be able to reach $1 million? Now, this is a column right here showing you the worst case scenario. And as soon as we click on a number, I'm going to pick, because I ran this ahead of time, $210 a month over a 40-year period. You would have put in $100,000. And if we use numbers from 1935, again, that's the worst 40-year run over the last 100 years. We use those numbers, you would have just short of $1 million putting in 100,000. So you have almost 10 times as much. The exact amount is $210.30 would get you to $1 million. That is in the worst case scenario. Second worst, using numbers from 1969, you'd have $1,064,000. And I like to use this column right here, the blue column. This shows you what you would have 95% of the time. And that's what we're going to start looking at. How much do you need to save a month so that 95% of the time, using numbers for the last 100 years, you would reach $1 million? $205? Still, 1.22. $200 a month? 190? 185? 180? Again, we're watching right here to see when that gets to $1 million. 175? 170? Looks like $170 a month. We'd have that 95% of the time you'd get to $1 million. Again, this one's less than that because you're putting in just $170 a month instead of the 210. But look at that. If you knock out the 5 worst years in the last 100 years, you would reach $1 million saving just $170 a month. What happens if you're content with a 90% success rate? Then let's see if we go to 165 a month. Yep, 996,000, basically $1 million, saving 165. Aren't these numbers incredible? What happens is that we run these numbers in 210, but that's only 1% of the time over the last 100 years. Let's go ahead and do an 80% success rate. Again, using the numbers, the S&P 500 for the last 100 years, looking at the worst 20% of the time. In other words, 80% of the time it would last. Again, we're going to look at this column right here. I'm going to 80% of the time to get to this amount. Let's see what we can get that down to $1 million. 155, 150. $150 a month, 80% of the time, using numbers for the last 100 years, you would get to $1 million. Isn't that incredible? Just how little it takes to get to $1 million, especially when we knock out the worst 20%. But even knocking out the worst 10% of the time, we just saw that would just take, what, 165 was it? Yeah, 165 would be just short of $1 million. 90, using numbers for the last 100 years, 90% of the time going forward, you would have $1 million, saving simply $165 a month. I just want to show you, that's why we call this channel $1 Million Made Easy. It doesn't take that much. Now, in other videos, we'll look at the effect of inflation. We need to do that. But right now, we want to see how little it takes to get to $1 million if you get started young and can do it for the next 40 years. That's the question we were trying to answer here. Please consider subscribing to our channel. Please let people know about this channel. Let them know we run all kinds of different numbers just to help people, maybe to incentivize them to get started young and get it in there, even though it doesn't seem like very much. Get it in there and get it working for you. Get the snowball rolling so you can take care of compound interest. Please subscribe to our channel. Please let people know about it. Please like the video, and thanks so much for watching. And I'd love to hear your comments on this channel, what you'd like to me have me do to run numbers for you. Again, thanks for watching.